Hello and welcome to the Mindful Caregiver Breathing Circle. So if this is your first time, welcome. Thank you so much for offering your presence today. And if it's not your first time, then welcome back. I'm thankful that you've decided to tune in once again. So my name is Sabrina. I am your mindfulness instructor, your meditation instructor, and your guide inward for all of these caregiver sessions. And I'm just going to break down really quick how these sessions go and just a little bit that you can expect and anticipate as we move forward. So although this is, I believe, the 7th session, these sessions are all standalone, which means that you don't have to have seen anything prior to this video for you to get the most out of this session. There's no prerequisite or anything like that. And each of these sessions are recorded and then posted on the Yoga for Caregivers YouTube channel. So you can check that out. And in today's topic, we're going to be talking about letting go and acceptance. But before we get into that, there are 3 separate areas, I'll say, that I like to break down this practice, this session into. The first one is intention setting. So we'll begin by setting an intention together as a group. I'll offer you a mantra or a phrase that we'll be working with. Take what works for you and leave what doesn't. From there, we'll move on to a quote or a passage that really spoke to me and resonates deeply with the intention of the day's session. And that will lead us into a small but very powerful dharma talk. And then after that, we will move into the final part of these sessions, which is a mindfulness meditation practice. So if you've never meditated before or never done anything with breath work, don't worry, this is always going to be very beginner friendly. And I'm going to be your guide through it all. So there may be some pockets of silence, but I will always bring you back to your intention, and I will always bring you back to the breath. So let's go ahead and get started. To start, I want to open up with a quote by Jon Kabat-Zinn. Now, I don't know if this quote was initially from his book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, which I will also be sharing a passage from. But I do know that this is one of his famous quotes, and I'm sure that you've probably heard it before, and it goes like this: "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." And my intention that I'm sharing with you today is hopefully to remind you that you can learn to surf the waves as a caregiver, as a human, as a person just showing up for your day-to-day. You can learn to ride the waves rather than trying to control them or stop them or resist them. And those particular waves that we'll be talking about are letting go and acceptance. And even more specifically, how we can release stress from the day, or how we can release circumstances or experiences that happened from the day. And learning to move forward with presence and hopefully a little less heaviness, a little less burden in our hearts, and a little more openness and compassion. And that openness, that compassion, it must start from within so that it can pour out to those that we serve and we support and we show up for every day. So today's intention is, and the affirmation that I've chosen to share with you, is today I choose to let go of the past, to receive what is here now. Today I choose to let go of the past, to receive what is here now. Now, as caregivers, oftentimes your day may be completely different, but in some ways, you may be showing up for those that you love or those that you care about, you're caring for, or maybe it's your profession. So you're showing up for your clients. Regardless, these are the people that are in your care and that you express concern for. And so maybe sometimes your day to day is kind of similar. Maybe what you did yesterday or last week, you're most likely going to have to do today. And so oftentimes, even though the emotions and the circumstances of the day may fluctuate, like those waves that we're learning to ride, sometimes the day to day becomes the same. And we can often find ourselves a little bit on autopilot, going through the motions of that. And so learning how to let go and accept is a powerful practice because it's allowing us to let go of yesterday, let go of 10 minutes ago, and show up to this present moment, show up for ourselves, and show up for those that we care for like it's a clean slate, with curiosity, without expectation, like we already know what's going to happen, or assumption that it'll be just like yesterday. So this may be a little challenging to wrap our head around because there's often a lot of negative connotation around the phrase or the term let go, and even more so with acceptance. Letting go, or when someone tells you to let go, it's very easy to take that personal because it may sound as if they're telling you that it's not a big deal. And acceptance is very close to letting go. So in order to accept something, we must first let go of how we wish it could be, or an ideal version or an expectation of what it once was. Acceptance and letting go are very close together. And I believe sometimes we have to do one and then the other. And sometimes we have to do that over and over again. So to elaborate a little bit deeper, I want to share with you, I want to share a quote from this book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, by Jon Kabat-Zinn. And I believe I've shared this in another session. And it's a quick passage explaining what it means to let go. I offer this passage as not just the beginning of our Dharma talk, but hopefully as a redefining of what it means to let go and to accept. And I invite you to be open to this passage and to allow these words to wash over you and maybe even welcome them as your new truth. So the passage goes like this. Letting go means just what it says. It's an invitation to cease clinging to anything, whether it be an idea, a thing, an event, a particular time or view or desire. It is a conscious decision to release with full acceptance into the stream of present moments as they are unfolding. Now that line is super powerful, but I want to break them down one by one. So the first one means letting go means just what it says. And I think an important thing we can take from that is the attachment we may have to our idea, to our narrative or our story of what it means to let go. Maybe we didn't like it when someone told us to just let it go. Maybe we didn't receive it well if or when someone in your life has told you to just accept something. It sounds as if it's an easy task to do, and as if you should just brush off something that may have bothered you or frustrated you or disrespected you in some way. And now as caregivers, these are very unique waters, unique waves that you're riding. Because although it is your job and is the way that you show up for other people, it's almost inevitable that someone's going to rub you the wrong way, or you're going to feel as if you shouldn't let this go. You're going to feel as if you shouldn't accept this. And there might be this tug of, this is my job, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm told to let go, and I'm told to just start over again tomorrow, but this is weighing heavy on me, right? And so letting go, um, I like to offer my community that I teach that letting go can often be exchanged for the words letting be. So it's less of an action, it's less of a doing, and it's more of a non-doing. When we let something be, we are allowing it to be as it is. We are letting go of the idea that it can be different than it is. And it doesn't mean it doesn't bother us. And it definitely doesn't mean it didn't happen. But it does mean that we're taking a step back and possibly detaching just a little bit, even if it's just from the story that we're telling ourselves about this circumstance, this person, or this environment. So the next line is, it's an invitation to cease clinging to anything, whether it be an idea, a thing, an event, a particular time, or view, or desire. So this is something that all of us can relate to, caregiver or not. We cling to the idea of how things, quote, should be. We cling to an event of how things went maybe one time, or how we played them out in our head and then it didn't go that way in our reality. And so we're clinging to the way that we would have wanted it to unfold, but it didn't unfold that way. Letting go is letting be, is being with what is, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's unpleasant, even if it's unwanted. And the next line is the last line. It is a conscious decision. So before I even continue, a conscious decision means one that you've deliberately chosen, one that you've paid attention to, and you've made. You made that choice. And I think that's a powerful thing to come back to, because it reminds you that you have control in the way that you approach, the way that you respond, not to what happens, but to how you respond, how you show up after that thing happens. So it is a conscious decision to release with full acceptance into the stream of present moments as they are unfolding. I find that line very special because it not only reminds us that we make the decision, and it not only tells us that the decision is to release, to let be, to let go of the idea that it could be any different, right? But we release with full acceptance. And now this is where letting go or letting be and acceptance go hand in hand. We can accept once we have let go. And in order to accept a lot of things, there is something that must be let go, whether it's the clinging to an idea, to a person, to an event, or to the story that we tell ourselves of the way things should have been, the way that we wanted them to go. So if we let go, if we let be, we let go of the narrative and we allow ourselves to be with what is, we can then move into full acceptance. And that acceptance leads us right into the stream of present moments that are unfolding. And that brings us back to our intention today. Today, I choose to let go of the past and receive what is here now. It is quite challenging, if not impossible, to receive what is here now unless we fully accept the here and now. And it's challenging, if not impossible, to accept the here and now if we are still clinging to the past. So, I want you to take a moment and I want you to allow yourself to bring to mind, to bring into your mind's eye something you may be holding on to. And it doesn't have to be huge. It could be a very simple experience. Maybe you had it today, this week, this month. As a caregiver, there's a very high chance that you are going to be put into situations where it's best for the long term to let it go. Because by holding on to it, by taking it personal, you know it's going to impact the way that you're showing up for those who need your support and need your attention. And so, first and foremost, the letting go or letting be and acceptance must be shown to yourself. Because it's within you that these things are happening, are surfacing, or unfolding. So take a moment to give yourself a silent permission to let go, to allow yourself to be with what is, and to notice any judgments that may come up with that, how you don't like what is, how unpleasant it may be, how this wasn't supposed to go that way. And allow these things in your view. It's letting go and acceptance is not about pushing away how you feel. It's learning how to ride those waves rather than resisting them. So give yourself a silent permission to be here now as we start to move into our meditation practice. So, if you have never meditated before, welcome. I'm so glad that you're sharing this space with us today. We're going to do a very simple meditation that I have adapted into my own life and my own practice. And I originally heard it from a self-development trainer named Brendon Burchard. And it's a very simple meditation called the release technique. And I'm going to help you release any tension that you may be holding in the body, any mental tabs that you may be reopening in your mind and possibly ruminating on. But more importantly, I want to teach you this technique because, particularly as a caregiver, there are going to be constant shifts in responsibility, in tasks that you need to handle, and transitions throughout your day. And when we find ourselves going through the motions of the day-to-day, because there are certain responsibilities that always have to get done, that we always have to show up for no matter what, even if we're wonderful at what we do, we can often tune out of what we do because it's so ingrained in our head. It becomes autopilot, and our mind and body have done it so many times that we don't have to think about it, and therefore we don't. And our mind tends to travel off into other things. And when we get into that state, which all of us do, autopilot is not a bad thing, right? But when we get into that state often, then there is less conscious decisions that are being made throughout our day, which means there is no pause between these responsibilities and these tasks. So you may be switching from one hat to the next hat without even skipping a beat. And I want to introduce this technique to you because this is something that can be done in a 1 to 2 minute period before you have to go from parent to caregiver, before you have to go from caregiver to teacher or coworker or boss. There's these little shifts and transitions in our day. And if we're not careful, we don't pay attention to them. And that's what makes it very easy to cling to events and to ideas and to situations It makes it very easy to hold on if we're not deliberately letting go. So we're going to begin that now. And if you haven't already, I suggest you get into a nice comfortable position. You can place your feet firmly flat on the ground beneath you, or if you're comfortable, you can go ahead and go cross-legged. If you're choosing to lay down, you can have your legs flat, or you can bend your knees and have your feet flat on the mat or the cushion or the ground beneath you. But the most important thing that we want to do is, if we're sitting, we're going to keep our back upright, our shoulders away from the ears, and we keep our back up straight as a dignified position, but not too rigid, because we do want to be comfortable in our body. And as we are comfortable, as we're upright, we're hopefully going to tune into some tension today. We're going to notice some of the stuff that we may be carrying around, and I'm going to guide you through to help you release. So whenever you're ready, you can gently close your eyes over if that's available and comfortable for you. But if not, you can gently soften your gaze toward the tip of your nose at nothing particular. Just relaxing the eyelids, relaxing the muscles of the face, and settling into your posture. In a moment, I'm going to ring the sound bell 3 times. I want you to listen to the sound until you can't hear it anymore, and allow it to invite you into the present moment. Welcome to the here and now. Let's start by locating the contact points between our body and the seat or the cushion that's supporting us. Can you notice your feet or your legs touching the ground beneath you? expanding that awareness to your glutes, your pelvic area, and your lower and upper back, against the chair or the mat behind you. Notice how you are fully supported, and give yourself permission to relax a little deeper into this posture. As you ground into the body, allow me to remind you that today's intention and the affirmation that we're choosing as our anchor to bring us back to the practice and the present moment is: today I choose to let go of the past, to receive what is here now. Today I choose to let go of the past, to receive what is here now. So give yourself permission to be here. Give yourself permission to tune into the present moment, no matter how it feels or what it brings. The here represents space, while the now represents time. It is our body that helps ground us into the here, our physical space. And so let's tune into our body through the vehicle of our breath. So I invite you to shine your inner awareness flashlight and notice how your breath is naturally fluctuating through the body. Maybe you found yours in your stomach or your chest. Or maybe you found it in your nostrils, your throat, or your mouth. Is your breath audible, loud, or quiet? Is it smooth or rigid? Fast or slow? And we're simply observing and allowing rather than trying to change or improve anything about how the breath shows up in our body right now. Each breath cycle, the inhale and the exhale, are wonderful teachers of the cycle of letting go and accepting. In order to receive another inhale, more air, more oxygen, you must first release and let go. And in order to let go, it means we're holding on to something that we've once accepted. Accepting another inhale and letting go of an exhale is like learning to ride the waves of change in our body. We don't have to take it personal. We don't have to wish anything were different. We can just let it be as it is and continue to show up. However you're breathing right now, I invite you to take one deep inhale and let out a nice sigh of an exhale. Wonderful. Now, if the here represents space and our body is in space, then the now is represented by time. And that brings us to the mind. It is the nature of the mind to wander. Wander back into the past of things that have already occurred. Wander into the future in anticipation of what may be. Constantly running from the now. I invite you to take a few moments as I offer a bit of silence and tune into your mind now. See if you can extend that curious awareness to your thoughts, remembering you are the observer, the thinker, just as you observed the breath in your body. While remembering it is the nature of the mind to pull you into the past or the future. So rather than getting angry at the waves of your mind and putting your energy into resisting them, I invite you to learn to surf. Watch the waves. Watch them flow and fluctuate, and practice not taking it personally. remember, the intention of today is I choose to let go of the past to receive what is here now. Give yourself permission to let go of the past as many times as you need to, and keep coming back to the now. In a moment, I'm going to introduce a technique called the release technique. This will help you transition from being to doing, from task to task, from working to relaxing, and any change of responsibility that you may be experiencing as a caregiver. But before I do, let's take a collective, deep inhale in. And slowly let out a sigh. And notice how relaxed your body might be feeling right now. So let's move into our release technique. We've already brought attention to our body. We've grounded into the present moment. We've watched the fluctuations of our breath and our thoughts. And now it's time to take that and apply that to our external environment, the world around us. We've taken a look and taken care of our inner world. And it's time to apply those same skills to the outer. So I'm sure that you have in mind a person that needs you, a place you need to be, a thing that needs to get done, an environment that you are on your way to. Before moving there in your mind or your body, let's take a moment to be where we are and let go of any preconceived notion of how that will play out for us. Give yourself permission to let go and accept yourself fully in this moment. And we'll do this by simply repeating in silence to yourself the word release. For the next few moments, I want you to breathe at your own pace and repeat the word release, silently or quietly to yourself, as a reminder to release tension in your body, release thoughts in your mind, and to surrender to the present moment so that you can set a deliberate intention for what lies ahead for you. So I'll give you a moment of silence now to practice release. Now that you've relaxed the mind and the body a little bit further, I invite you to bring to mind an intention for how you would like to show up and move forward throughout the rest of your day. It could be a simple word, a phrase, or better yet, a feeling that you evoke from your heart. Take a few moments to breathe into whatever you choose. And rather than focusing on the details, allowing yourself to trust that it will unfold the way that it needs to unfold. All you are doing is setting your intention to show up in the very best way you can. In a moment, I'm going to ring the sound bell 3 times to signify the end of this practice. I encourage you to hold on to that phrase, that intention, or that feeling for as long as you can. As gently as you found your way into this practice, I invite you to move out of it. First, by recognizing your body in space, then moving your fingers or your toes to come back into the room. And finally, blinking open your eyes or raising your gaze. And coming back to the space around you. Gently bringing ourselves out of a practice is just as important as actually sitting down to practice, because it is a reminder that we aren't to rush into the next thing. And that even though this may be a formal practice, there are plenty of informal practices, otherwise known as opportunities to practice mindfulness, that you'll find in your day-to-day. So I hope that today's intention of practicing letting go, not just of the past, but of anything that we may be holding on to in our minds and our bodies, and learning to accept where we are and what the present moment brings. I hope that that intention has brought you a little clarity, a little insight, and a little bit closer to peace of mind. Again, my name is Sabrina. I am a mindfulness teacher, a meditation instructor, and an intuitive healer. And I'm so thankful that you've decided to share your presence with me in this space. So thank you for practicing today. Thank you for making your mental and emotional health a priority. And thank you for doing the inner work. I hope to see you for our next session. And I want to leave you with a reminder that peace is always one choice away, and that choice is always yours. Peace and blessings to your corner of the world.